welcome everyone to GG's Weekend Watch. Last weekend on the all-weather, I'm pleased to say we actually had a corking time, as much as I'm looking forward to the better racing this weekend. As per usual, we've got our wonderful all-weather expert, Daryl Carter, and Andrew Mount joins him. We found 4 winners from 6 races last week, and Daryl, to your disgust, I think you did very well.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad of a weekend, was it? I think Andrew felt the need to troll me a little bit on Twitter, saying that I was copying him, but that's fair enough. No, it was a stroke of luck, let's say that.
Yeah, we had a good weekend. Andrew did as well. Both had winning naps as well. So good weekend. Saturday's action then this week is going to be from Ascot. That's very standout there. So that's where we start. And the Reynoldstown Chase is over 3 miles. That comes up at 150. And Andrew, we'll start with you. And 2 of this small field are on a hat-trick mission.
Yeah, that's right. An interesting race, this. Not perhaps the strongest renewal we've had. And the first thing I wanted to do was perhaps dismiss Kaluki, one of the likely pace angles, given that he does tend to jump out to his left, and this right-handed track might not suit. And I thought Severano, the current favourite, around about 5-2, he might be able to bounce back. You can put a line through that last run when he was 4th at Newbury. He's basically never going after an early mistake, and you can just ignore that run completely. But the one I was interested in was another who ran at Newbury last time out, and that's Demachine for Kerry Lee. Only a 7-year-old. He clocked some really good figures when winning his first 2 chase starts. That was at Uttoxeter and here at Ascot. And then he's gone to Newbury. He's run up against Paint the Dream and a very good novices handicap chase. Paint the Dream's made all. Dickie Diver, who's been well touted for the Ultima at the Cheltenham Festival next month, he was in 2nd place. And Demachine, a little bit disappointing, finishing 3rd, beating about 8 lengths as the 9-4 favourite, but he's had a wind-up since. And so it sounds like there was something slightly amiss that day. He's obviously had trouble with his breathing. And you look at Kerry Lee's record, first time with wind-up horses. 4 wins from 20, over fences only, 4 wins from 12. Massive profit of £37 to a £1 level stake in SP. And she's also had 2nd places at 11-1 and 20-1 with those chasers first time after wind surgery. So I think Demachine could bounce back. He's around about 5-1. I think he could be the value in the race at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite a tight betting market from what I've got here. So Demachine's had a wind-up. Daryl remastered. This is the 2nd run after a wind-up.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. He's going the right way for David Pipe. He's obviously in search for a hat-trick. He's had a couple of easy tasks, so to be fair. The last time was just a 2-runner field against Baron de Middleton. That horse was trying 3 miles, I think, for the first time. And the time before that, he ran against a horse called One Night in Milan. But there was a horse in the field called Geordie B, who jumped awfully throughout that race. He was terrible. He hit every single fence on the way around, and he was only beaten 7 lengths. So I put a little bit of a down on it for me. So I do think he's a danger to my selection, actually, which is Hurricane Harvey, who's under a penalty. He's a Grade 2 winner last time out on his first try over 3 miles. I think he's been screaming for this trip for quite some time, and I really enjoyed the run behind Galahad now at Wincanton in the Rising Stars Novices Chase. Now, he was beaten 22 lengths, but he ran a blinding race. Galahad that day, who won, just met every fence on a stride, just pinged them and just got away. It was one of the most impressive performances from a novices I've seen, at least this season anyway. And Hurricane Harvey was trying to give him £9. He was never going to do that. Got outpaced at crucial stage in the race and then stuck on again. So they were rewarded for going up to 3 miles next time and winning that Grade 2. I think he's the faster horse in this field. I think he just might have a little bit too much turn of foot for him when push comes to shove, coming down that long home straight at Ascot. I think he's a really nice horse. Now, it's a little bit off-putting that Paddy Brennan's not on to ride, but I still think that he is the best horse in this race. I think Demachine, for me, you can put a line through that run at Newbury. I followed him all the way through the handicap ranks, backing him. I just was a little bit underwhelmed with how easily Paint the Dream won that race, wind-up or no wind-up. I thought he might have just been caught up by the handicapper for now. So I was happy to leave him alone, and I was happy to take on Severano. And fullback is a horse that jumps violently out to his left. Now, he did win at Exeter last time out, but it was a terrible race, really. You can tear that form to pieces. I would just be concerned about his jumping out to the left on this right-handed track. So I settled on Hurricane Harvey. I think 5-1's a fair price, even though he's under a penalty. I think he's going to give a good go. And if he gets into a battle, I think he's the one I'd like to be with. He's got a great attitude.
Yeah, I think it's you both mentioned there horses that jump one way or the other. I think it's always a worry, isn't it? Because they're losing ground as well, regardless of which way the track goes. If they're not jumping straight, it's always got to be a worry. So Demachine for Andrew and Hurricane Harvey for Daryl. That's the 150. The 225 is the next on the Ascot card, and that's the Swinley Chase. The Twiston Davises won this last year with Ballyoptic, and they've got Hill 16 in here, Daryl.
Yeah, this is a tricky race. It's one of those you can make a case for 5 or 6 in here quite easily, and it's probably worth keeping in mind that a lot of these horses are going to be running in the handicaps at Cheltenham, so they might be trying to mind their mark and getting in the last run in before the festival. So there is that to take into consideration. This is a big pot though; it's worth nearly 30 grand. I've been on a fishing line with Jerry's back for a long time. He's been dragging me along for years now. This horse is definitely well handicapped. Again, he comes out last time, finishes 3rd behind Dashel Drasher. I think that was a stronger race than this one is. He's well handicapped on his previous form. He loves here at Ascot. Form figures are 3.32. The 3rd was actually behind Regal Encore and his only start over 3 miles. He's now £9 better off with that rival for a 3-length defeat. I don't think he was given a hard time there. He's always looked to want 3 miles. This is the day. Hopefully, this is the day that he goes in. But this has got to be the last roll of the dice for me with Jerry's back.
I was going to say, you're not going in again, are you?
No, there's got to be a time when you have a cut-off point. And I just think that his last run that he's entitled to improve for was definitely a stronger field than this. There's horses in here that are back time and time again. Like the likes of Musical Slave, I think, is well handicapped. New Tide is one of the only runners for Kim Bailey on the card. So, that's got to be taken seriously after a wind-up. There are lots of horses in here that you can make cases for. I'm going to side with Jerry's back because he would be the one that I'd be most annoyed if he was the horse to nab me on the line. So Jerry's back. Okay. It'd be a tentative vote though, Leonna.
So he'll win next time when you've given up. Andrew.
Yeah, this is incredibly tricky. JP McManus owns 4 of these, and I doubt the trainers or the jockeys know which one is the one yet. So the betting might give us a clue a little bit close to the time. But as Daryl says, a lot of these have got targets at Cheltenham. The one who hasn't is probably course expert Regal Encore. He's a 13-year-old now. Yeah. And he's running this race for the last 3 years, finishing 1st, 3rd and 3rd. So if you were, say, going to give me, £2 and I'd have my pound each way on Regal Encore. I mean, it was more a case of looking at horses I didn't like here. I don't like Captain Chaos because of the size of the field. He's had 7 wins from 17 starts in fields of 9 or fewer runners. Give him a field of 10 or more, he's lost all 13 starts. Cobo Lobo tends to go off the boil at this time of year. Not a Chance won the Warwick Classic Chase last time out for Alan King. But winners of that race in this century have only won once in their next outing. That was one for Arthur, who was rested for a few months before winning the Grand National. Alan King's won that race twice previously. Both times he brought the winner back to race in February, and both times they finished unplaced. So that would be a bit of a concern for Not a Chance fans. We've also got Yaltari, who was 4th here last time out, but has never won outside of the December-January period. And his hold-up style isn't ideal for the race. So like Daryl, I'm kind of thinking, it's not what I want to get heavily involved in. I was half interested in Hill 16 for Nigel Twiston Davis. As you said, he's won the race before.
Give me the stats. He's my selection.
Well, this one clocked
Come on, Andrew.
This one clocked 3 incredibly quick times, according to Raceform speed figures, 3 times in a row. The final start for Sue Smith when finishing 2nd. The first 2 runs for Nigel Twiston Davis when winning. Every figure was 116, which is bloody big for a horse in this grade. And then it was just last time out, pulled up in the Haydock mud. Now that was 3 miles, 1.5 furlongs on heavy ground. Desperate conditions. Basically, he'd been running over 2 miles 4 to say 2 miles 7. Had won over 3, but not in particularly testing conditions. So Ascot's 3, if the ground dries out a tad, it might be a little bit easier. He's got a tongue tie on for the first time, suggesting there might have been a breathing issue in that Haydock race last time out. Yep. So again, my shortlist of 2, Regal Encore, because he's a good old boy who loves this track, and Hill 16, who potentially had excuses last time out on account of those stamina sapping conditions at Haydock. With the tongue tie on, could bounce back here, but it's an absolute minefield.
Has it persuaded you, Daryl, as well, that Hill 16 is the one to be with?
No. To be honest, the tongue tie for me would be the concern without the wind up. If there was a breathing issue there last time, tongue tie's not guaranteed to fix it. First time tongue ties for me, I tend to avoid them. But it is a nice horse, no doubt. He was very rapidly progressive prior to his putting up last time. Marker 137 doesn't look overly harsh, so yeah, you got a good chance. If Jerry's back's not on song.
Yeah, which, let's be honest, it hasn't won every time you've backed it. So we know it isn't going to again. So Hill 16, yeah, is the one I like for all of the reasons that Andrew highlighted. In that 225, Regal Encore is Andrew's other one, and Daryl is going again with Jerry's back. So fingers crossed for all those three. The next race for us is the 3 o'clock big field handicap here. And unexposed Gladiator Alain has been fairly well found in the betting here, Andrew.
Yeah, trained by Jane Williams, ridden by Chester, and I've known Chester since he was knee high to a grasshopper, but he ain't the greatest jockey in the world. And in terms of knowing where to go if there is a bias at Ascot, if the hurdles track is cut up on the inside and you want to stay wide, perhaps not the right man to have on board. But this one did win well here last time out. But again, it was very keen. You could argue that a bigger field, a stronger pace is going to suit. But sort of backing Chester's mounts at single-figure prices has probably been the route to the poorhouse over the last few years. So I'll leave him out. Kid Commando was quite interesting, I thought. First time after the wind-up for Anthony Honeyball. He's a course winner. And since wind-ups had to be declared in January 2018, Anthony Honeyball's only had 13 of them running a handicap first time after the surgery. 5 of the 13 won for a profit of £21.25. So, I've not looked at the running styles of all the participants, but if Kid Commando looks like he's not going to get taken on for the lead, as he was when pulling up here in that good race behind Not So Sleepy in December, then maybe he could bounce back. He obviously goes well fresh. He won first time out this season, and he's been rested for 2 months. So, so a wind-up, fresh, Kid Commando possibly. But, it's kind of like stick your lucky pin in, 6 to 1 the field and hope for the best, really.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Have you got anything any better, Daryl?
I actually like Albert's back for this. Now, he fell yesterday at the first. So I fancied him for that as well. He's 4-6 over hurdles. He's been progressing at a rate of knots. The time figure he recorded at Wetherby 2 starts back was excellent for this grade. The form has just worked out really well. The second may well have won next time out at Cheltenham Handicap when falling at the last. The third, Torgarini, ties in with Kadzand and Christopher Wood. Kadzand, obviously the favourite for the Betfair Hurdle on Sunday. He easily won next time out at Wetherby at the same venue off a £5 higher mark. I don't think an £8 higher mark now is enough to stop him. I like the booking of David Bassey. I'll tell you what's interesting about this is that Brian Hughes normally rides Albert's back, and Brian Hughes goes to Wincanton, I'm assuming, to ride Navajo Pass in the Kingwell Hurdle. And he also rides one for Kim Bailey. And David Bass picks up this ride that Brian Hughes would normally ride. So it's a bit strange. But I think Albert's back has got a lot more to come. He could be anything. A mark of 141 shouldn't stop him. I don't think there's too many well-handicapped horses in this field. In terms of Gladiator Allen, I'm a big fan of this horse. But I don't think the drop back and trip's going to suit him. And I'm not sure about the big field scenario. He's a little bit inexperienced. And whether his jumping's going to hold up in a big field like this would be the slight concern for me. Pylon was the other one who was interesting for Philip Hobbs. His form over her. Now, the chasing hasn't got a plan this season. Of course, he's back over hurdles. But the form of his handicap debut, which came in a Martin Pipeman second off a £5 lower mark, is miles better than this. It's easy to forget that he was only beaten 4 lengths in the novice hurdle by Chantry House. Like the form for Pylon is very much there off this mark of 143. So I wouldn't dismiss him completely back over hurdles, but I'll stick with Albert's back for this and just take one stab at it.
I was going to say, why is Pylon not the pick then?
Just well-being. I mean, he's been over fences the last twice. He's finished beaten 68 lengths, and he was pulled up last time we saw him. He wasn't really travelling with much enthusiasm. So You know, it would be okay if he was completing and he wasn't good enough and then dropping back over hurdles. But I'd need to see a little bit more before being able to back him. I might have a saver.
If he ran okay in this and jumped okay back over hurdles next time.
Next time out, perhaps, yeah. Perhaps he might get a couple of pound drop and he might be at the festival again. You don't know. It depends what the plan is. I mean, this time of year, it's very difficult to know what the plans are. Obviously, novice chasing for Pylon has just been scrapped now. So they might run here. He might get a couple of pound drop. That would be the third poor run in a row. You never know. Back at Cheltenham, you don't know. I would rather watch him, like you say, and then perhaps next time.
Okay. Well, both value then. I think Albert's back. I've got 12s. And Kid Commando, I think 16. So at the time of recording, so both really good each way bets in that race, but it's a difficult one. So we'll see. And then the feature of the day is going to be the Grade 1 Ascot Chase. Of course, Paul Nicholls has said, hasn't he, that they've declared the cheek pieces. He's had them on at home and they've made all the difference. What do we think about that move, Daryl?
Use your eyes, not your ears.
Yeah.
God, the amount of codswallop that comes out of somebody's trainer's mouth. I don't understand why they need to put the cheek pieces on. Look, he's been running over 3 miles. He's not been seeing out the free. He saw out a very slowly run 3 miles in a Charlie Hall. Fine. Vindication hit every single fence and still got to within 2 lengths of him. You know, he's not seen out the 3 miles when he was covered up inside. His conditions are 2 miles 5, soft ground at Ascot, off the front end. You don't need to mess around with headgear. I don't understand it. That would be the one thing that would put me off him today, whether or not he'd take to those cheap pieces. And, you know, would he get home and would he be too exuberant?
They're too severe, though, are they? It's not like having blinkers or a visor on. You'd hope that they wouldn't be too detrimental, even if they didn't help.
It just worries me for a front runner when he's on a front runner and whether he'll be over exuberant in them. That if he was being tucked away, I could understand. But he's going to go from the front here. I don't know. I mean, I can't. He's got everything in his favour, so there should be no excuses really, unless the cheek pieces have the opposite effect. But I fancy his stablemate Master Tommy Tucker. I love Daryl Jacob as a jockey. I think he's fantastic. Whether or not he'll get on with this lad, I'm not too sure. But he disappointed at Cheltenham. It was a little bit of a weird run in that. Was it the Paddy Power? Or was it Caspian Caviar? Wasn't it Caspian Caviar? I don't think he needs to lead. I think he can sit in behind, and I think that's what he's going to have to do here, because I think Benny's King, Dashel, Drasher will probably go and try and take on Surname, and I think he just might be able to pick up the pieces if it does fall apart. It's not a race I'm overly confident about with any of the runners, to be honest. But I think if Master Tommy Tucker's going to win a Grade 1, then I think it could well be this one.
Yeah, because there's like 4 of the 5 that could go forward, but I suppose because Master Tommy Tucker can make some absolute shocking mistakes at times. Perhaps if he isn't fighting for the lead, that might help make less mistakes, perhaps.
Let's hope so.
So, selection?
Master Tommy Tucker, tentatively, but I'll be honest with you, I probably won't have a bet in this race.
Okay. Daryl? Andrew, sorry. Daryl again?
Andrew. I want to be Daryl. I know I'm a Daryl wannabe, but I'll never scale those heights. Yeah, this is a fascinating race. I mean, it's pants for a Grade 1, but it is fascinating. I mean, after that defeat at Kempton, Paul Nicholls said that, Harry said Surname sulked a little bit and spat his dummy out. He didn't jump off when he normally tanks along, and then he underperformed. He's probably one of those horses that needs to dominate. If that's the case, why is he running another front runner against him in Master Tommy Tucker? And as Daryl said, there's other pace angles in the race like Benny's King and Dashel, Drasher. I mean, 5 to 4 on, not for me. I mean, he tends to go well first time out, and then it's like toss a coin as to which Surname you're going to see. So I don't want to take 5 to 4 on about the toss of a coin. I mean, the cheap pieces could help. Paul Nicholls has done well with his headgear over the years. Of course, Seymour Business won a Gold Cup in first-time cheap pieces. And if you go back to 2010, you back all Nicholls horses in first-time cheap pieces who'd finished unplaced last time out. Good profit of over 43 quid to the £1 stake. Interestingly, 11 of the horses made the running. 7 of them won. So if they take a pull on Master Tommy Tucker, don't take the stablemate on, you could see him, making all. But at the same token, you could see him clouting the first fence and pulling up, about 10 seconds later. So it's a hard race to have a confident bet in. I mean, Benny's King, he's only ever won in December, November or December, so maybe he goes off the boil at this time of year. So perhaps we could take him on. Riders on the Storm, of course, won it last year, but hasn't been in the same form this time around. I keep coming back to Dashel Drasher for Jeremy Scott, probably underrated because of who trains him. Now, he's one of these horses who looks like he wants to go left-handed because he keeps jumping out to his left, but he keeps winning right-handed. He's bidding for a hat-trick at Ascot now, beat Itchy Feet here in December, and then last time out, very impressive in beating Benny's King in a big field. So I'll take his course form over Surname's Quirk. So Dashel Drasher for me, round about 6-1 or 13-2.
Yeah, it's not an easy race, that is it? That's the feature race, though, of the day. So we'll see what happens there. Anything else for either of you at Ascot in any of the other races?
Not for me.
No, me neither. That's it.
Okay. We move to Haydock then, don't we? We've got that 240, which is the Grand National Trial Handicap Chase. Obviously, it'll be a slog, as you'd expect. What do we like in there, Andrew?
Tricky old race, this one. They say Not a Chance is doubly entered. This is one we talked about for that Swindley Chase at Ascot as well. 7-2 favourite at the moment, so I'm not sure which the first preference is. But again, given that Warwick Classic Chase winners tend to underperform, particularly on their next start, particularly when brought back fairly quickly, I could take on this one. Sojourn's another one that I'd like to take on. He's incredibly consistent, but his wins have all come first time out in November. He did that again this year for the third consecutive year. Rocked up in November on his seasonal debut and won. Ran well here next time out, finishing second, but again, he struggles to win after that first run of the season. Lord de Menil, everyone's expecting us to see more from him now that the national weights are out and he's not in danger of going up in the weights, but there just hasn't been enough in those 3 starts this season for me. And I'm looking at his size. They tend to do really well as sort of 7-year-olds and then go off the boil a little bit at quite an early stage. So I'm not sure he's the same horse as an 8-year-old that we saw last year. Perfect candidate, could run a race despite the fact that he's 14, but you're probably looking at a place, if anything. The one I kept coming back to was Enqarde for Dr. Richard Newland, who's been really consistent for this yard. Just chinned at Ascot on stable debut, then won at Newcastle. Came here to Haydock behind Samson Venture and Sojourn, and easy for me to say, and unseated, and then bounced back with a win from Kobaloba at Ascot last time out. So, he'll do for me, not 9-2, but it's a tricky race in the Haydock mud, and it could be a war of attrition. So not really a race I want to get involved in financially, I'm afraid.
Okay, Encore for Andrew. Then, what do you like in there, Daryl?
Nothing. I don't like anything in this race. It's awful. This is just a throw your money down the drain race for me. I know you're going to force me to pick something.
Who would you throw your money down the drain on?
probably two Amigo, the two Amigos. But the angle would be on the basis that Not a Chance was running in here, and we don't really know that, do we? Yeah. He's £12 better off with that favourite for a 3-length defeat, and it was a near career best last time in the Welsh National behind Secret Reprieve. Just thought that would be the angle to take on the favourite, but if Not a Chance doesn't run in here, then there's not a chance I'll be having a bet in here. So, but yeah, it's a bit of a mess of race. Enqarde is the unexposed improving horse in the field, but this race over the years has gone to those older horses that have been there and done it. So the two Amigos, can get round in the mud. So the two Amigos, tentative vote, but avoid the race is awful.
Okay, avoid the race if you're Daryl then, but two Amigos and then Encore for Andrew likes Encore. Do we have anything else that we like at Haydock, either of you?
In the 130 in the novice handicap chase, Galahad Quest for Nick Williams. He's a trainer who tends to bring his chasers along slowly, doesn't do a lot of schooling with them at home. They gain experience on the track, often in graded races. This one was last of the 3 finishes when 25-1 in a graded chase over course and distance last time. Picked up $3,000 for finishing third. I think now he's going handicapping. We'll see a lot more from him because he's got that course experience. Made a couple of bad mistakes. So with that run behind him, a clear round of jumping, could see him go well. We've got the Reynoldstown, of course, Grade 2 hurdle. Itchy Feet, one Daryl and I were both keen on for the Cleve hurdle because we didn't get to see that race. Cheltenham and then Weatherby abandoned. He could go well back over hurdles. And Warren Greatrex does well in that race. He's got last year's winner, Emma Tom. So those were the two I was looking at for the Rendlesham. And Elm Valley was fascinating in the 3:14 for Fergal O'Brien. I thought this one would have a squeak in the Fred Winter. He probably needs to win on Saturday to get into that race. The downside is, though, he's had a wind operation since his last run. Fergal O'Brien just one win from 44 with his first-time wind-up horses since they had to declare the procedure in 2018, minus £41.50 to a £1 level stake. So that's a watching brief for me, Elm Valley. But of those other Haydock races, Galahad Quest, the one I really like in the 130.
That's a very surprising start, isn't it, for Fergal O'Brien? Doesn't do well with wind-ups at all. Daryl, anything else for you at Haydock?
Yeah, two, but they are towards the head of the market. The first in the 3:14, I thought Nassalam would take a hell of a lot of beating in that race that Andrew just mentioned about Elm Valley. I do like Elm Valley, and I think going forward he could be a useful horse, but I would take this Nassalam back on a flat track over Monrimrau all day long. In the 4:25, I haven't seen the prices for this race yet, so that's going to depend. But mint condition is at the head of this, should be at the head of this market for the Albert Bartlett trial. The time figure they ran at Warwick in the Leamington Novices Hurdle. Now I know there was the front 4 or 5 were covered by a short distance, but the time they ran was electric for the Warwick course, and he looked like he was screaming to go up to 3 miles. So I think he's got a little bit more to come. So I would have him over anything else in that field. But that'd be about it from Haydock. I think I'm stronger on the Sunday than I am on the Saturday, to be honest.
Okay. That's absolutely fine. Talking of Sunday, we decided that it was definitely worth a mention at Newbury. At the time of recording, obviously, we don't have final declarations, but we thought we'd do our best to talk about it anyway. So the Demachine Chase is at 2:25, and Paul Nicholls is double-handed in there at the moment, Daryl.
Yeah, this is another strange race. I thought the two at the top of the market were well worth taking on, to be honest. I thought Clan des Obeaux and Lost in Translation, who have shown next to nothing this season, were just going to be over bet. And I actually like the trip move for Kalashnikov going up to 3 miles. This horse only has £4 really to find with the two at the top of the market. Once you take into account they're both under a £6 penalty. Then the step up and trip I thought was going to bring out a bit more. I think he's the potential improver in the field. He goes well here at Newbury, won the Betfair Hurdle here, and he was good second off a mark of 155 last year in carrying a big weight in a handicap. Now you can forgive his run over 2 miles behind Altior. 2 miles doesn't suit him. I think this is a horse that's been asking for a long time to go up to 3 miles. So I think there's lots to like about him, whereas a few others in here, like Secret Investor's not going to enjoy the ground if we have any more rain come this week. And the rest for me are borderline handicappers. Fiddler on the Roof, perhaps not handicapper, but you've got to make excuses for some of his runs. So I just thought Kalashnikov was going to be a bit of value, bit of each way value, even if one of the front two at the market do perform back to their best and one underperforms, you're playing for 3 places. So Kalashnikov, I thought.
Yeah, been well looked after, hasn't he, Kalashnikov? Amy Murphy absolutely loves him and takes real good care of Kalashnikov. See a lot about him on social media. Andrew?
Yeah, like Daryl, I'm a fan of Kalashnikov going left-handed. He's had 15 runs this way round, 7 wins, 4 seconds. Slight doubt about his stamina, but I thought worth another try over it in what should be a fairly steadily run contest. Dashel Drasher's obviously going to run on Saturday. Clan des Obeaux only won one of his last 7 starts. He hasn't won left-handed since 2017, although he is 2 from 2 here at Newbury. Lost in Translation's lost 4 in a row now, pulling up twice and going down by 47 lengths in one of those. He's back from another wind-up. It could help, but at the same time, he could blow out again. His Secret Investor, he tends to do his winning from March to October, obviously because he likes the better ground, as Daryl's already said. He did chase home the winner in this race last year, Native River. So he could perhaps place again. But it's the kind of race it's probably worth having a crack at the place pot, because you could quite easily see Clan des Obeaux and Lost in Translation bombing out, leaving your sort of Kalashnikov to beat Secret Investor. 6-1 beats 8-1 in a field of 7, and that makes the place pot. So Kalashnikov for me as well.
Yeah, well, based on all your all-weather tips last Saturday, that should win then, because all the ones you agreed on did really well, or you got the forecast stuff. The story of the game Spirit Chase at 3 o'clock is obviously going to be Champ stepping down to 2 miles for the very first time in 4 years. So been a very long time. Tell us why, Daryl. Why is this happening?
Honestly, this infuriates me. It
You
really
stressed?
does. Yeah. Well, look, I'm a huge fan of this horse. I followed him throughout the whole of his career. Now, they've got themselves in this position because they've decided not to run the horse. Now, whether or not there's been a slight setback at the start of the season or not, who knows? But, just since Christmas, they could have ran in the Many Clouds Chase, Peterborough, the Grade 1 Ascot Chase, Silviniaco Conti, Peter Marsh, Cotswolds, Caspian Caviar, Paddy Power, Skybet Chase, Tommy Whittle, and that's without all the handicaps in the midweeks.
There's been so many chances.
And they're coming out of excuses now, and they're saying, well, we've got no other choice but to run him in one of these races. No, you've had the last 4 months to run him. It's just so frustrating. It really is. It's not just frustrating from the fact that I love the horse. It's frustrating because, fans want to see these horses run. It's the same story with Altior. Never see him run. Yeah. We want to see these horses run. This is a potential Gold Cup horse at the beginning of the year after a fantastic performance in the RSA last year. And we're not seeing him until 3 weeks before the Gold Cup, and he's running over 2 miles. Like, it's ridiculous. He doesn't want to run him in a Denman Chase over 3 miles because he thinks he's going to have too much of a hard race. But he's happy to drop him back over 2 miles and run a blistering gallop over 2 miles, which is going to expend just as much energy as it would going slowly over 3 miles. Yeah. I just don't know where I lie with it. And the problem is, when I go through this race, I actually see there's a lot of value in it because I really want to take this favourite on. But I can't back Champ over 2 miles. There was a part of me that used to think that he was a supreme horse and he wanted, he was all about speed and it wasn't stamina. Yeah. But I've got a funny feeling they're going to come here, they're going to ping a few fences for a circuit, and then they're not going to give him an overly hard time. Yeah, and probably pull him up. I don't see any scenario here where his price shortens for the Gold Cup. So, you're probably going to get a bigger price for him in the Gold Cup after this race, I would have thought. But this race has one of the worst favourites of the entire weekend. Grenadine is in here. He's a 2.5 mile horse, running over 2 miles, under a £6 penalty. And all he did last time was beat Rouge Vif by a length, and Rouge Vif hates soft ground. I just can't have him as short as he is. So I've got to find a bet in here somewhere. I like the angle of Fanny and Destravel coming back to Newbury. I think he's a fast horse, and I think Ascot, he couldn't really get into it. I thought it benefited those two at the front. I didn't think Cheltenham really suited him the last twice. I thought Kempton was too sharp. I think this nice galloping left-handed track at Newbury should suit Fanny and Destravel. He's got a reverse form of Magic Saint, but I think back here at Newbury, where he was so impressive last November, I think he can be there or thereabouts. And the other one was So Royale. It depends what the ground does for So Royale. It's going to be a last-minute decision whether I have a little bit of the tender free that's about for him. He was only touched off in this race last year by 3 lengths by Altior, and Politilog was in second. Now, if you go through that form line and returning to the same venue, then he's miles clear of Grenadine. He's 15 to 8 and 10 to 3. It's a mad market. It really is. I'm undecided where I'm going to go for this race at the moment. I tell you what, I'll put up So Royale for this and hope that the ground dries. And the drier the ground gets, the better chance he's going to have.
But positive for Fanny and Destravel as well.
But positive for Fanny and Destravel, yeah.
Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, we should mention at the time of recording, we don't know the final decks for this race. So with Paul Nicholls having 3 in, just be very careful if you're going to back anything anti-post. I mean, Champ, there's 2 questions. One, will he actually turn up? We saw, Henderson scratch Altior late from the Tingle Creek. Don't be surprised to see Champ not running this race and not run this season, for example. There's obviously
Daryl's getting stressed that you've just even mentioned his name in the background. He's like...
And of course, if he does run, will he get lapped? Because it's 2 miles. And,
he won't get lapped. Don't be silly. He won't get lapped.
Watching that RSA
they're just going to mosey round out the back.
I mean, the RSA Chase wasn't a very good race last year, and you look at all the horses who ran in that, who've come out and running Grade 1 company now they're outside a novice company. I know this isn't a Grade 1, but I mean, Champ for the Gold Cup, it's pure fantasy, I think, on what we've...
You're having a laugh.
On his preparation. I think he's going to make Santini look fast if he turns up in the Gold
Cup. God! So, have you been drinking?
Not enough.
Only Diet Coke.
You can't seriously back Champ for this. You probably won't even run, I wouldn't imagine. So you're left with the Nicholls trio and Fanny on Destravel. I do like Magic Saint for this. I've long thought he's best on flat tracks. He really surprised me when he won that Cheltenham race. Did my absolutes in that because I thought he wouldn't get up the hill as he hasn't done previously, and needless to say, he did. Dolos is best when fresh. He last ran 15 days ago, so that would be a concern for him. Granatine, I take Daryl's point that he's just too short given his profile. So I keep going back to Magic Sate 7-1. But again, will he run all three in it? I'd rather take 9-2, 5-1, knowing the final decks, than risk taking 7-1 now and potentially losing my stake because he won't run. It's a fascinating race. Amazing what they're doing with Champ. But say he was, like say, not raced over this trip for several years. Last time he did, he was beaten at odds of 6-4 on at Kempton over hurdles. So first time after a wind up, that's often a good angle for punting with Henderson runners. But usually if you run a horse over a shorter trip than is optimum, first time after a break, it generally means that they're not 100% fit. And you don't want to risk injury over that longer trip. So I would say he's going to improve for it. He'll probably be hunted round, finish sort of third or fourth, and then we'll see what happens at Cheltenham. They might say it's going to come too soon, and we'll miss Cheltenham and go to Aintree. So if you're holding anti-post vouchers for Champ, press that cash out button while you can.
No, don't be silly. Do you know what my worry is? My worry is that they've been teaching him now for the whole of last year to try and settle so that he'll get the trips. And now they're dropping him back.
They're going to wrap him.
Yeah, and then in 3 weeks' time, they're going to try and ask him to do something completely different again. I just think
they've gone to the stable to find Champ, and someone's going, I haven't seen him. When did you last see him? And he's probably just flown off to Dubai or something to escape lockdown.
Well, he's that good. He can do what he wants, mate.
It seems bizarre, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is strange. And look, can it be a good thing? I don't think it can be a good thing. I mean, running 3 weeks before a Gold Cup doesn't read well anyway. It is just so strange. It's going to be strange because if this field does cut up, like Andrew says, and there's only 4 runners in here, and they go a crawl, and then they sprint. What are they going to do with him? Are they going to try and win this race with him, or
Yeah, are they going to hammer him to get there in the closing stages and then run again?
Yeah, if there's a chance he can win,
do what Andrew said, and then say, "Oh, it's going to come too soon for him."
Yeah,
I mean, this is the 3 o'clock race. There's another race at 3:35, so we'll even finish by then.
If Daryl was in the same room as you, I think he'd hit you right now. Anyway, that's the 3 o'clock. The final race that we're going to cover is the Betfair Hurdle, which is at 3:35. I saw a little clip earlier on today of Nico saying that Mr. Coffey's in great shape, and they're hoping for a big run from him in that, Andrew.
Yeah, cracking race. I mean, what's amazing about this is some of those horses like Metier, who are being aimed at the Supreme, dropped out of this, which is worth 70,000 quid to the winner, running in the Supreme, which is worth 57 grand. So obviously the kudos of having a Grade 1 winner in the Cheltenham Festival.
They're already rich. They're not bothered about money.
Well, exactly. I mean, you and I, Leonna, we're all about the cash, aren't we? And we'd rather go. We'd rather have a 5-1 shot running for 70 grand than an 8-1 shot running for 57. Typically open, typically competitive. I thought Buzz would appreciate the likely big field, strong pace, and would have each way claims, but he's a bit of a Archibald when he comes to the business end and doesn't always find what you expect. Mm-hmm. The one I was quite interested in at a massive price was Highway 102 for the Chris Gordon yard. Now, if you backtrack 12 months, he was winning a Grade 2 hurdle at Kempton, and being talked of in sort of great terms as a potential Cheltenham Festival winner. We didn't see him again last term. He's rocked up over fences first time out. He's fallen behind a race won by Hitman. He's then taken on Cheddleton, unseated his rider. And then last time out, they've put him back over hurdles after those 2 non-completions. He's normally a front runner or at least a prominent racer. They've basically held him up out the back of the telly at Sandown. It's a confidence booster. And I think it's also perhaps, reserve that handicap mark with a view to this race. And off 141, having won a Grade 2, then maybe Highway 102 can give us a run for our money here at a massive price. And there's a million others you could fancy. Wild Max might be a little bit underrated, and Galise Macalo, another Jane Williams runner. I think he needs a big field and strong pace. You look at his good runs; they've come in fields, double-figure size fields. He tends to pull hard when he's in smaller lineups. He could go well. But Highway 102 was one I was going to throw a few quid at each way.
Have we got any guess at a price, Andrew?
40 to 1.
40s, I think.
Oh, very good. Okay, 40 to 1 for Andrew. Daryl, is your selection 40 to 1 as well?
No, but I am going to have a cover bet on that. My nap is in this race. My nap of the weekend. Mr. Coffey hoses up in this. This is a 150 horse running off 138. He's a sole course and distance winner in the field, which is already a big plus, other than Crooks Peak, who probably won't get balloted out, I would have thought. But he won here, obviously, on hurdle debut, given an easy beating to shake him up. Harry was going away at the line. He's only got to give him £2. The third in that race is rated 129. The sixth one next time out is rated 134. He had excuses for his run at Huntington, where he just went off like an absolute lunatic. That form does tie in with Andrew's Highway 102, if you want to take it literally. But then on handicap debut, he absolutely bolted up at Sandown, beating Oscar's leader by 5 lengths. That form has worked out really well. Now, the second went out and almost nabbed the Cobb at Haydock next time. The Cobb subsequently went on to win the River Don, the Grade 2 River Don. Is rated 139. The fourth has won the next twice. Favre, that horse was called. That's rated 143 now, and that includes a Grade 2 win. And he beat Manila Drama. Manila Drama is a horse on Sunday who's the favourite for the Sydney Banks. The fourth in that race has won a Grade 2 since. Won a Grade 2 today. Mr. Coffey would have been in receipt of £5 from Favre, because he was entered in this race earlier in the week. Would have been in receipt of £5 from that horse for a 6-length defeat. You just watch his latest run back at Sandown against Benson. He was beaten 9 lengths. Benson won. Benson's now £10 higher. But Nico gave him a ton to do at the back of the field. They just held him up and just slowly came through. He gave him two tiny little taps with the stick. I watched both runs at Sandown. I put them side by side and watched them. And you look at the difference between him winning off a mark of 128 to him running off a mark of 138. The jockey language is completely different. I think this has been the plan for him all along.
I think his best horse went fresh as well, because that Sandown defeat came after a 28-day break. His Huntington defeat, 27 days. He's 3 from 3 went fresh, and they've left him off the track for 11 weeks here.
Yeah, I do think he does need to be a little bit fresh, but I also do think that they wanted to, at Sandown, they wanted to teach him how to race rather than because he can be so keen before a race and he can be so, all over the place a little bit, hence why he was wearing a hood. I think they wanted to get that other Sandown running just to teach him as opposed to win. I think that Nico knew the moment he bolted up on that handicap debut, I thought they knew that they had a well-handicapped horse, even if he got another 10. So I think this has been the plan. Like you say, he comes here fresh now. This is a 150 horse. Trust me, this is a 150 horse running off a mark of 138. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he was, as I say, that video that I saw, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, he was really positive, Nico, about the horse. He said, I think everything will be perfect for him and everything should fall into line. So he definitely agrees with you anyway. So we've got Highway 102 for Andrew, huge price, and Mr. Coffey for you. I think that's it, isn't it, as regards the actual races that we're doing. Go on, Andrew.
Yeah, I was going to say any other business at Newbury, I think, was the next thing.
Can't wait.
If you like anything else, go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple of interest in the 410, one for Rosie, stable debut for Kim Bailey. Been off the track for a while, but went well fresh, went with Nigel Twiston Davis. And Scandyberg for the Brooks, Kate and Andrew Brooks. Now with Jamie Snowden, first run for a new yard after leaving Ollie Murphy. Had a couple of runs over fences in the autumn, didn't take to them, back over hurdles here. Loves flat tracks, and since his hurdles debut, he's had 4 goes over hurdles on flat tracks, 3 wins and a short head second. So given Jamie Snowden's in form and has done well with horses he takes over from other trainers, maybe Scandyberg. He's 14 to 1 anti-post. I'd want to wait to the final text to make sure he's definitely running. But he's a horse I think has got enormous potential, is perhaps ahead of his mark, and now he's changed trainers and back over hurdles. We might see a little bit more from him on Sunday.
Okay. Anything else anywhere for you, Daryl, other than naps?
Not
That's everything,
really.
isn't it?
There's one in the bumper actually at Newbury in the 4:45.
Yeah.
It's Paul Nicholls' horse called Petrosan. If he runs, he's worth keeping an eye on because he ran a faster circuit time than the Division 2 bumper. He ran the second fastest 4 out to finish time on the entire card without coming off the bridle. I think he's a very smart horse. He's obviously going to be a staying chaser for the future, but keep an eye on Petrosian. Is that Petrosian? I need some English lessons, I think.
It looks that way. We'll go with that. So naps for the weekend we'll finalise now, and because I'm so generous, you can have Saturday or Sunday as your naps. I know that already Daryl's is Sunday. Confirm what your nap is, please, Andrew.
I'll go to the Reynoldstown Chase, the 150 at Ascot on Saturday, and Demachine first time after the window.
Okay, and Daryl, you told us yours not long ago. Just repeat that for us.
Mr. Coffey will not be beaten in the Betfair Hurdle.
Okay, and mine is actually in the 4:10. JP McManus horse. I think it's second favourite. Flight Deck, very well handicapped, still unexposed, and won really well, I thought, at Bangor. Obviously, very shrewd connections. So I think that horse is going to be a lot better than that mark, and made quite a lot of mistakes, I thought, as well when he won. So like the look of Flight Deck. So that's my nap.
Who did you like in the Betfair Hurdle, Leonna? I don't think you said.
Let me find. No, I didn't pick anything, did I? I didn't pick anything for there. I managed to get away from them if they're too hard. If that's the one that you've gone for, Mr. Coffey, isn't it? Because that's the only one I wrote down for that, I think. Yeah, well, as I say, when I saw that video earlier on from Nico, because this is Thursday, which is when that video came out, he was so positive about him. And, you know, just when you look into it, and he was saying, oh, that is not perfect, the race is perfect. It seems exactly like you said, as if this was always the plan, you know. We don't like to say that people set things up long term and give them runs to educate them or whatever, but you know, it was a kind of everything looks like it's set out a stall for that Mr. Coffey for that Betfair Hurdle. So I think that's about the selection, but it's not a strong one. I just think so many of them races are super hard, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think that's it then. We've given you all the naps. Obviously, we cover plenty of racing for Saturday and Sunday. As we said before, we've done our best with Sunday. We haven't got final declarations, so take a lot of that with a pinch of salt, and hopefully they do all go. Don't forget to check out, as always, GG.CO.UK. There's lots of jockey and trainer videos going on there as well going forward, and there's some already on there that Daryl's done, so make sure you check them out. There's all the race cards on there, and there's all the daily tips as well that include plenty of winners from Daryl and Andrew.